Greg, you want to talk a little bit about Jay before we bring him on? What did you think when you heard him up talking in front of the room at Orlando?
I mean, to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised that he wasn't mentored directly by Sean, because some of the stuff that he does with his group, with the times that they dial, work ethic, and it mirrors what Sean did back in the day when I met him. But then, we had Bowen on a couple months ago. Listening to Bowen talk, it does make sense. Um, you know, this call is not going to be for the faint of heart. So if you're weak-minded, if you get your feelings hurt easily, I tell you to hang up, because you probably will get offended, in a sense of, like, there's really no excuses that he'll take to not help you become successful. So to me, it's impressive to watch. At 22 years old, I was an absolute disaster. So to see where he's at that age is very impressive. And I was honored to meet you in Orlando, Jay. It was fun to watch. It was great to listen to. We took notes, and it was exciting. So you had a group full of young, hungry people that just don't think too much and just go to work. So yeah, I'm excited to listen to this call, Mike. I think he's going to kill it.
Frank, and I mean, in that whole room, he had more people than anyone else. He had 20 that are all in his group that were there. I mean,
Yep.
He had more people than anyone. So I'm excited to bring him on. Jay, you there, bud?
Yeah, how we doing, guys? I appreciate you guys having me on.
We are doing fantastic, man. Life is great. Well, Jay, I mean, we all saw you down there. I came right up when you walked off stage and was like, we got to have you on our call. I mean, it was great listening to you. So the floor is all yours. If you can kind of just give everyone a little bit about, who you are, your background, and then your journey, and then how you got to where you are today. I greatly appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so I've been in the insurance industry for 3 years now. So I started when I was 19 years old, 2.5 months before my 20th birthday. My background, man, is just like basic, like anybody else's background that is successful. 88% of people are self-made. 88% of millionaires are self-made millionaires. They didn't just come from rich backgrounds. So, I mean, I'm 22 years old. My dad's 84 years old. So I have a little sister and a niece. My dad was raising me and my little sister off of Social Security, making $1,500 a month, and rent was $900 a month. So every time I saw an opportunity, I always jumped on it. Like, I didn't care what it was. Like, you guys probably heard the thing, like pyramid scheme, MLM. I was like, that didn't faze me. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to go figure out if it's a pyramid scheme or MLM, because I'm going to figure it out so I don't miss out on the opportunity, if that makes sense. So coming into the insurance industry, guys, the way I found it was kind of crazy. I had $50 to my name, and I'm 19 years old, $50 living in my buddy's attic. I moved to Chicago. So the first thing I did was move to Chicago. Guys, I'm a huge believer on moving out of your hometown and getting away from distractions. 92% of the people in insurance fail, but I believe that what you guys have, 163 people on the Zoom call, is crazy to me. Like, I've never been on a Zoom call with 163 people. So what you guys have going on is amazing. So shout out to you guys. Another thing is books. Like, when he brought up book of the month or book of the week, like, that blew my mind, because I haven't heard anybody in FFL do that besides me. Like, that was the first time I've ever seen that. And guys, when nobody said anything about, like, he's like, who's read this book or any recommendations, and nobody said anything, like, I was baffled. I was like, holy shit. Like, nobody cares about personal development. Guys, personal development is the biggest thing that's going to make you successful. This is not a get rich quick. Like, insurance is not a get rich quick. Like, you're not in insurance to sell insurance the rest of your life, because that's just not going to happen. If you want to sell insurance the rest of your life, go work at State Farm, 20% commission. They give you like a $2,000, $3,000 a month salary. When you're looking to hire people, guys, like, you're looking for business partners. You're not looking for insurance agents. Like I said at the Orlando sales conference, like, I'm not looking for insurance agents. I'm looking for business partners. Coming into the insurance industry, guys, I didn't make a sale for 3.5 months or 2.5 months, three months. Like, and that never fazed me, though, because I saw everybody else around me making money. Like, for an example, if you see Frank, you see Mike making money, it's like, guys, they bleed the same blood, they breathe the same air. It's like, you guys can make the money that they're making. It just all comes down to mindset and personally developing yourself. That's the biggest thing that separated me from everybody else, guys. I played a college baseball for a little bit, got hurt, dropped out. I grew up competitive as hell. Like, I grew up, my dad's 84, he was born in 38. Like, if you guys know that time frame, like, that's like hell. Like, that's hell. Like, there's no excuses. Great Depression, like, you guys name it. Great Depression, Vietnam War, just you guys name it. Like, that's hell. Like, I remember growing up, my dad raised me, guys, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Like, when you guys post submit numbers, like, I was the first one to submit. Like, in my head, like, I was the first one. I remember coming home from it was like a spelling bee or something like that. I told my dad I got third. He said, why in the fuck did you get third? And I said, Dad, it's a spelling bee. And he goes, well, what do you mean it's a spelling bee? You didn't win. I'm like, Dad, it's a spelling bee. He goes, and this is the biggest lesson I got from it. He said, Jay, it's a spelling bee, but if you're okay losing in one thing, you're okay with losing in everything. And winning is everything. It's the only thing. That doesn't just mean in sports, guys. That means in life. When you go submit a job application, you're trying to beat out the other people that submitted job applications. If you're going to buy a house on a mortgage, you're beating out every applicant that submitted a house on a mortgage. Like, every day is winning, guys. Like, you have to look at it like winning. Like, if Frank posted submit numbers, I'm the first one to post submit and a check mark in the group chat, because I want Frank to know how serious I'm about building a business. So when I started, guys, I didn't come from discipline. I had no discipline growing up. So, like, I had to develop my own discipline. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning because my mentor woke up at 4 a.m. Like, I was like, yo, I hate being out work. Like, that's just not me. Like, I absolutely hate it. So I woke up at 3:30 a.m. I read my Bible, went to the gym at 4 a.m. I personally developed. So I listened to leadership books and sales books. So I personally developed myself to get better, because you can't just show up on the phones and just say, okay, it's 5 o'clock, I'm going to get off now. It's like, no, guys, you got to develop outside of the insurance industry, guys. Like, I'm Google researching, why do people need life insurance? Why do people need mortgage protection? Why do people need this? Because I always wanted to get better, because I knew what this opportunity could do for me, because I was surrounded by everybody else that was making money. The only thing that separates you from that other person is just work ethic, guys. Like, that's all it comes down to, is how hard, like, how bad you're willing to want it. A lot of people, they look for instant gratification. Like, guys, you're not going to get instant gratification in this business. And if you do get instant gratification in this business, I guarantee that person already quit by now, 6 months later. Like, I get a lot of agents that come to business, smack $10,000 their first month, and they come up to me like, Jay, I did 10K. I said, I don't care. I bet you quit in 6 months. And guys, 90% of the time they quit in 6 months. The people that I'm looking at is the people that are going through adversity, that have maybe made $2,000 or $3,000 for the month, that maybe made $2,000 or $3,000 for the month for 3 months in a row, and they haven't quit yet. That's the person, I'm like, that's the person that's going to make it in the industry. Because my first year in insurance, I made $200,000 at the age of 19 and 20. At the end of the year, I had $0 in my bank account, because I was reinvesting in my business, because I knew from a business standpoint, a business doesn't become profitable for roughly 10 years, guys. That's how much a business, it takes usually 10 years for a business to become profitable. In the insurance industry, 2 to 4 years max, in my opinion. I don't know about Mike or Frank, but 2 to 4 years max, it should take you to become profitable. So I knew what I knew is I didn't want to be obsessed with the short-term gratification. I wanted to be focused on the long-term gratification. So when I was building a business, the way I looked at it, guys, was, how can I get my bills paid? That is all I cared about. As long as I was selling, recruiting, hiring, and developing, I knew I was going to make over $500,000, over $1 million if I just stuck to it. Like, I knew, like, hey, my bills are paid for, but I don't stop recruiting, I don't stop selling, and I don't stop developing, I'm going to make a lot of money. I just have to consistently do that. A lot of people, they get hit with adversity and their routine stops. They stop waking up at 4 a.m. They start waking up at 7 a.m. They get hit with adversity. They stop reading books. So they stop reading books because they got hit with a little adversity. Guys, I got sued by a guttering company at the age of 18 years old. I got sued by a guttering company because I said, don't work for this guttering company. I didn't know, as an 18-year-old, when you move, you're supposed to tell a county. Like, Frank and Mike don't even know this. When you move, well, they don't know about my story, but if you move, you're supposed to call the county and let them know that you moved. I didn't know that. I got sued. They mailed out paperwork to one of my old addresses. Had no clue. Got sued. Guess how much money they won? They won $140,000. So, guys, I'm negative $140,000. They sued me for slander and defamation. That's one lawsuit you can't file for bankruptcy. They put a lien on my bank account. And this is why I'm in the insurance industry. They put a lien on my bank account. I said, what in the hell do I do now? I go depressed for like a month. I'm like, what do I do now? Sean calls me. He said, Jay, do you have cancer? I said, no. He said, why the hell are you complaining? I said, Sean, that's a good point. Like, I don't have cancer. I'm not dying. I'm 19 years old at this point, 20 years old at this point. Like, what am I doing? Called up the guy with the guttering company, figured it out. Guys, if there was anybody that went negative $140,000 in a lien on their bank account, I promise you they would have quit by now. And like, we would have understood why. but I knew long-term, guys, like I knew long-term I was going to make it out of it. Like I said, I did not care how much debt I had. I knew long-term I'd make it out of it. Because my mindset was like, if I have to sell my car to invest in my business, I'm going to sell my car to invest in my business. Like I just knew, because I was like, if I sell my $30,000 car to invest in my business, I'll be able to buy 100 of those $30,000 car eventually. Now, if you sell your car and you don't invest it back in your business, you're just a complete idiot. I'm not telling anybody to sell their car. It's just the sacrifices I was willing to make. Because a lot of people don't understand, like you have to give up to go up. So what are you willing to give up to go up? I'm willing to give up absolutely everything. I'm willing to live paycheck to paycheck for the next 5 years of my life, knowing that I'm going to be a multimillionaire after the 5th year if I just stick to it. So that's the thing, guys, is a lot of people come in the insurance industry and they get hit with adversity. And like, guys, adversity is like normal. Like I love when I get hit with adversity, because I look at it like, I'm like, okay, I get hit with adversity. Now it makes my story better. So when I get on a Zoom call like this, I can say, hey guys, this is how I got hit with adversity. This is how I handled it. Like there's no person that's successful. It's like, yeah, it was just really easy. Like I was just successful. Like, no, dude, listen to Frank and Mike. I guarantee they had a shit ton of adversity in the business, but they didn't stop. Now they're able to use their story to influence you guys. Like that's the biggest thing, guys, is just influencing people. If you're in leadership, your goals, how can you influence and lead with intentions? So leading with intentions is being selfish or selfless. I remember, guys, I'm having $300 in my bank account and a new agent needed E&O insurance and didn't have the money. I paid the E&O insurance for them. And I had $120 in my bank account. I've done that probably 100 times because I knew all I needed to do was find 5 studs that were willing to ride with me and die with me to build a business. Biggest thing about me, guys, another thing, when I'm like actively recruiting, guys, like this is what it's going to take, guys. Like when I'm actively recruiting, like maybe Mike or Frank hasn't even thought about this, but who posts sell from everywhere, sell from the comfort of your bedroom? Who recruits that way? Like, I can't lie. I used to recruit that way. Like sell from my bedroom, sell from anywhere, make your own schedule. Who recruits that way? Nobody? Like nobody wants to raise their hand? Okay. If you recruit that way, guess what people you're targeting? Lazy people. You're targeting losers. Like, guys, but like nobody knows this. Does that make sense? Like everybody's like, oh, like that's really appealing to people. That's appealing to losers, guys. Like work from home, work from the comfort of your bedroom, make your own hours. Like, guys, entrepreneurship isn't make your own hours. It's missing Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Hanukkah. I don't care what it is. Like you're missing out on opportunities. Like I remember Sean Mike on a podcast said, guys, on Christmas Eve, I was door knocking and I'd bring cookies to my clients' houses. Like, guys, on Christmas Eve, guess what I was doing? I was doing the exact same thing. Minus bringing out the cookies and stuff. Like I was actively working on Christmas Eve. Like I had a niece at this point. Like it's only me, my little sister, my dad, guys. I have 3 family members. Like I don't have any other family. So my dad's 84. Like in my head, everybody's like, Jay, you need to spend as much time as you want with your family. My dad didn't raise me that way. When my grandpa died, my dad went to work the next day. And my dad's siblings go, why are you working? He said, the sun's still rising, the sun still sets, like life moves on. My mindset's bulletproof. It's the exact same thing. Like that's a process of life, guys. Like I'm gonna miss out. I'd rather see my niece who isn't even 1 year old. I'd rather sacrifice 4 years of her life knowing I can set her financial life up in the future. Because guys, she's not gonna remember me when she's 1 year old. She's not gonna be like, Uncle, you missed out on my 1 year birthday. Like she ain't gonna give a shit. So I'm willing to sacrifice whatever I have to make this stuff work. So when you guys are hiring people, when I sit down, I'm sitting down with somebody like Frank, I'm like, hey, dude, what's your goals? Are you willing to relocate? This is what it's going to take to be successful. It's going to be 2 to 4 years of you being absolutely broke probably and just getting your shit kicked in. Are you okay with that? They're like, yeah. What if I promise you after 2 to 4 years? What if I promise you after 2 to 4 years, you're going to be set up for life? They're like, yeah, I'd sacrifice 2 to 4 years. But guys, it's like the kid in football that's like, yeah, I want to go hit somebody. And then you give them the helmet and the pads to go hit them. And then they're scared to hit somebody. Like that sounds appealing to you guys, right? 2 to 4 years living paycheck to paycheck. If I do the right things, like I'll be successful and rich. It sounds appealing and easy, right? Well, it's not easy. Like your goals, your goal might be to make $200,000 this year, but life's going to get in the way of your goals. Business is going to get away. Adversity is going to get in the way of your goals. So personally developing is what gets you through all that bullshit. You have to be willing to personally develop. You can prepare for adversity, but you'll never know when it hits, but you can prepare for it. So when it does hit, you know what to do. A lot of people just think, oh, I'll just make a sale here, recruit 2 people here, and like that's all I'll do. And then they get hit with $3,000 of chargebacks, and like, what do I do? Like, I have no money. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, guys, you have to keep working. Like, I'm talking. Is it Mike Robinson?
Let's see who it is. I'll get him off.
Sorry.
Guys, when I first started, guys, I'm working 12 hours a day. Like, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning. I go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock. They're like, Jay, but that's not good for your health. Like, you need to get 8 hours of sleep. I don't give a shit. I'll sacrifice 3 years of sleeping for 6 hours, like, or 5 hours. Like, I'll sacrifice 6 years of doing that if it means I'm going to be successful, my family's going to be successful. So at the end of the day, it's all, what are you willing to give up to go up? Here's a quote that I saw in church, guys. Like, here's a really good quote. And it's like, it's amazing to me. If something isn't working, we're always looking to change something instead of making it work. Because the easiest thing to do is change. Because we want instant gratification instead of wanting to get through the hardships. If you're at a job and you aren't getting promoted, you change because you want instant gratification. Staying can be difficult, but it has its benefits. Once you battle out the hardships and you get through them, the Lord gives you a stronger vision. When you get through tough times, you start to have a greater vision. Guys, what's your vision? Like, why did you come into the insurance industry? I hope it wasn't to make money. Like, obviously the goal is to make money, but I hope that's not the only reason you came into the insurance industry. I hope it's to retire your mother. I hope it's to send your kids to high school or through college. Like, I hope you came into the insurance industry with a goal in mind and knowing that it's going to be hard. Like, I don't sell people on the dream, guys. I sell people on the hustle. Like, I want to absolutely scare them away from the opportunity. Like, that's my goal, is to scare them away. And if they're like, no, Jay, like, this is something I want to do, I'm like, okay, like, they're dogs. Like, they want to run with me. Like, I'm telling them that it's going to absolutely suck to 2 to 4 years and they still want to work with me. Like, that's how I know I'm going to create a good culture, guys. Like, guys, I have agents right now that make $10,000 a month and maybe have $1,000 or $2,000 in their savings account because they're constantly reinvesting in their business. Frank and Mike brought up a good point, recruiting, guys. Like, guys, you need responsibility in your life. When I heard all I had to do was build a business, hire people, develop people, and I'll make a lot of money, guys, the first thing I did was hire people. Because now I have responsibility. Now I have to develop myself and I have to put myself in a leadership position a lot faster. So if you're somebody out there that's struggling, reflect back on your habits. Guys, my team only runs ILC leads. Who knows what silver and bronze leads are? My team only runs silver and bronze leads. Those are like 6 month, they're like a year and a half old leads. They only run it. And like, the crazy thing is I can tell you guys the truth that my team only runs silver and bronze leads and you guys probably don't believe me. That's the great thing about it, is like, I can tell the truth and I know you guys probably don't believe me. So like, that's the greatest thing, you guys, is none of my agents bitch and moan about the leads. Like, they're like, Jay, I could buy 75-cent leads. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, dude, this is like landmine. Like, I could buy 200 leads for $150. I'm like, yeah, dude. They're like, hell yeah. Like, why would I complain about that? Guys, you guys know what Cutco is? It's a $1 billion knife company that only runs referrals and door to door. Imagine selling something that somebody wants. Guys, you're selling something that somebody needs. Like, going door to door trying to sell knives. Oh my God. But they're a $1 billion company. And they're doing door to door, no leads, just selling knives. Like, you guys have the pleasure of having leads. You guys just, most people just complain and bitch and moan about the leads. Like, guys, my people don't bitch and moan about the leads. Like, they're literally, like, their asses are kicked out of the office if they complain about the leads. And we're running 75-cent, $1.50 leads that people aren't willing to run. Like, we're willing to do things that people don't want to do. We're really willing to invest into 75-cent leads, $1.50 leads, knowing that we're going to get 10x on our return. So guys, like, when you're looking to buy leads, another tip, guys, is I don't buy just from one county. If I'm buying 10 leads or 100 leads, I'm buying 10 leads from 10 different states. That's like one tip I'll give you guys about buying leads. Buy 10 leads from 10 different states. If you buy $1.50 silver leads, guys, it's going to be like $150. If you buy 75-cent leads, guys, 75-cent leads, oh my Lord. You buy 10 from 10 different states, guys, I promise you, my average agent's doing $15,000 a month in IP off of silver and bronze leads. We don't run mortgage protection. I'm trying to get into mortgage protection, but it's hard to learn something, but I'm willing to obviously learn it because I know mortgage protection is very valuable. So when you guys are on the phones, guys, ask one of my recruits when I'm on the phone and somebody answers what I tell them. No matter how much I'm getting my ass kicked, I look at them and say, I'm going to close this deal. I'll be right with you guys in 1 second. Guys, my mindset's I'm gonna help this person out. I'm gonna close this deal. my mindset's like, oh my God, like I haven't had an answer in like 2 hours. Like I'm just gonna go lay on my bed and watch TV for 30 minutes. Like guys, like I got a family to feed. Like my biggest whys is to start a charity for people in foster care. I was in foster care for 4 to 6 months. Like that's my why. If I lay down on the couch for 30 minutes, that's just how long I'm prolonging my goals on opening a charity. Like I understand that though. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people can work hard while they're broke, but a lot of people don't want to work hard while they're rich. Like a lot of people will work hard while they're broke. Like who works hard when they're broke? I work hard when I'm broke. But when you start making money, you start making 3, 4, 5 grand a month, 3, 4, 5 grand a week. You're like, okay, like I'm making 3, 4, 5 grand a week. Like I'll just chill out and relax. Like, nope, that's when you fail. Like that's when you fail. So the biggest thing, guys, is making your mindset bulletproof. Like that's all it comes down to is like nobody's going to stop me. Like let's say Mike and Frank quit, I would not give 2 shits. They're making way more money than me, but I could give 2 shits if they quit. I'm always prepared for something to happen. If my upline quits, I don't care because I know how much money I can make in the insurance industry. I just have to be the one willing to go through the most bullshit. Guys, the bullshit you could have, guys, nobody knows this, but I had to rebuild my business 3 times since I've been at FFL. 3 times. Like, guys, like 3 times is a lot. Like I had roll-up debt, chargebacks, you name it. But it never once fazed me because I was like, guys, if I just keep building a business, I put my head down and work and I recruit, like I know I'm gonna build a profitable business. Another thing, guys, I was looking at your guys' comp chart. Oh my God, you guys are grateful. Like my agents would hop on the Zoom call and ask to transfer maybe. Guys, my comp raises are 2 months back to back, and they get a comp raise if it's only bonusable premium. Now, why? You guys know does anybody know what a VP bonus is or what a VP bonus does for you? Guys, it's like a salary. Like it's like a salary every month. Like disregard your guys' overrides. It's like a salary. So when I'm building my business, I build off of only bonusable premium. Like, hey, you want a comp raise? This is how much bonusable premium you got a right to have a comp raise 2 months back to back. Because now that urges their agents to write, the new agents they bring in to write bonusable premiums. That makes my VP bonus bigger, their VP bonus bigger, their VP bonus bigger. Everybody else they bring in makes more money. Like you guys are grateful, guys. Like you guys are grateful for your guys' comp chart. You guys are grateful for this Zoom call right now. Like just be grateful and find one thing every time you're getting your ass kicked. Find one thing to be grateful for. I remember I was complaining the other day to my girlfriend. That's the only person I complain to, by the way, guys. And she says, Jay, just be grateful you have a business. Like you're 22 years old. A lot of people are in college debt or barely getting out of college. Like just be grateful you have a business. I'm like, holy shit. Like she's right, guys. Like be grateful to be in this opportunity where you can make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a week over the phone. Like most of you guys probably don't even run Zoom calls, but over the phone. Another thing, guys, when you're recruiting is don't get happy feet over recruits, guys. Like I don't hire a lot of people. Like my agency does about $800,000 a month and we have 75 active writers. And guys, I don't hire anybody. Like if a dude shows up 1 minute late to the Zoom call, like he ain't hired. Like, oh, Jay, I was on the phone with my dad. I apologize. I don't care who you're on the phone with. Like, I don't give a crap. Like, you're not, like, if you're going to show up late, I don't want to talk to you. Hey, Jay, I was running late from the office. Traffic was a little bit bad. I don't care. Leave earlier. Like, that doesn't bother me, guys. Like, if I'm having Zoom calls, my Zoom closes at 6:01 sharp. Jay, but I was in the waiting room. What happened? I'm like, get on earlier. Like, I don't care. Like, guys, like it's the small details that lead up to bigger things. Like, you have to be good at the small things if you want big results. A lot of people expect big results, but put minimal effort in or do minimal things. Like something as silly as just submitting your numbers on time. That's going to get you one step closer to getting that big result. If you're willing to put up with the small shit, you're going to be willing to handle the big shit. But you can't expect to handle a business or grow a business if you can't handle small things. The biggest thing about me, guys, I've never really done these calls, so I just ran. So like I go on and on. Like I'm so passionate about what we do, guys, because I remember 1 year ago today, I was making maybe $5,000 a month. My agency did $89,000 for the month of October. Fast forward, now we're at $400,000 for the month of October, and I'm making 50, 60, 70 grand a month passively. Guys, you guys have people like Mike and Frank that are still selling insurance. Like, be grateful for that. Like, I don't sell insurance. Like, after my agency hit $500,000 a month, I focused on developing people, recruiting people, hiring people, and other things. Like, guys, be grateful for people like Mike and Frank, guys, that are still busting their asses on the phones because they want to see you guys become successful. Like, guys, like, I don't do that anymore. Like, some people think, hey, Jay, like, you should sell. Like, that's a bad thing. But I look at it like, hey, guys, like, I know how to write 60 grand a month. I'm going to go teach other people how to develop other people. The biggest thing you guys need to learn is leadership. Because if you can develop other leaders, guess what? You develop one other leader, they're able to develop another leader. And then that leader that they develop develops another leader. That's how you grow a business, is developing other leaders. Who's heard of John Maxwell? Couple
I
people.
have. I went to go see him before, yeah.
John Maxwell is the greatest thing that's absolutely changed my life. Nick Saban, guys, I watched podcasts on Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach in forever. Like, he will be the greatest college football coach ever. Like, guys, I love Nick Saban and John Maxwell, Andy Elliott, people like that. Like, guys, those are people that are transparent and blunt and that can't handle the truth. Like, when I have an agent that shows up to the office, Jay, I've been here for 12 hours. I didn't dial, like, I didn't make any money. And I say, let me see your phone. I grab their phone from them. I scroll through their dial log. I say, dude, you dialed 30 people. I say, get the hell out. Like, don't complain to me, guys. Like, I run this shit like it's a football team. Like, you show up late to practice, you ain't starting. Like, you ain't gonna get my time. Here's the biggest thing that I learned, guys. I think it was from John Maxwell. 80% of your time goes to your top 20%, and 20% of your time goes to your bottom 80%. Guys, when I learned that at my old company, when I learned 80% of their time goes to the top 20% and 20% goes to the bottom 80, holy shit, was I trying to be the top 20%. I said, I want them to focus on me. Another thing, guys, has Mike or Frank ever yelled at you guys? Just out of curiosity? No? I remember coming back from 4th grade. I was at practice. I said,
No.
Dad, the coach keeps screaming at me, Dad. Like I don't want to do this anymore. He goes, Jay, you know why the coach is screaming at you? I said, no. He sees potential in you. You better be worried if the coach isn't screaming at you. So guess what I did? I found every reason for the coach to start screaming at me. I found every reason for if Frank and Mike don't text you guys, like, I'm sorry, but they don't give a shit about you. Like, guys, like, I don't text my bottom 80%. Maybe once in a while, you guys need anything? Like, how's everything going? Like, what can I do for you guys? But if they're not asking me questions, like, I don't care about them. Like, let's say somebody like Kendall Clark comes in, asks 0 questions, and he's not making any money. I'm like, dude, you're an absolute idiot. You haven't asked me 1 question, and I make 50, 60, 70 grand a month. Like, I don't care that you're complaining. Like, take advice from people you want to trade places with. A biggest thing is, let's say Kendall and Savannah Apperson are in a room and they're bitching and moaning and complaining. Guys, like, get your ass out of that breakout room. Like, I ain't surrounding myself around that. Like, surround yourself around people that you want to trade places with. Let's say Savannah writes $10,000 a month, Kendall writes $15,000 a month, but Kendall's asking Savannah for sales training advice. Does that make any sense? Like, no, that makes no damn sense. So, like, even, dude, I had a professor one time say, Jay, you really should have gotten a business degree. I said, how much money do you make? He said, I make 100 grand a year. I say, okay, I make 500 grand a year. Like, I don't need your advice. Like, no ego, no nothing. Like, I'm not taking advice from somebody that makes $100,000 a year, because why would I drop down $400,000? Like, that makes no sense. So when Frank or Mike are saying shit, like, listen, like, don't get offended or butthurt. Like, they're just being transparent with you. Like, if your friend group's like, oh, like, it's okay, like, everything's fine, like, just the next day, like, do better, like, everything's fine. It's like, that's where you fail. Like, that's where you fail. Like, I want people that are screaming at me, hollering at me, ripping me a new ass. Like, that's the person I want to talk to. Like, I want to talk to the person that's transparent and blunt about me. So if you're on this call and you're broke, reflect back on reflect back on your work ethic, guys. Because what I tell people, your first 3 months, you'll find out if this business isn't for you, and reevaluate right now if this business is for you, so you can just quit now and make your life a lot easier, make Frank and Mike's life a lot easier, whoever your upline is a lot easier. Like, that's because I love that person. That's like, hey, dude, like, this ain't for you. Like, you gotta quit. Like, I'm sorry, but this ain't for you. Like, I care about you a lot. Like, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Like, you're not getting anything out of this. Like, some people are willing to work a 9 to 5. And I don't diss a 9 to 5, guys. The greatest thing, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but college degree, most people start working at 25 and they retire at 65. How much free time do they have between 25 and 65? Does anybody know the answer?
No.
8 years of free time between 25 and 65. Why? They wake up, eat breakfast, do the dishes, go to work, come back at 5 o'clock, eat dinner, do the dishes, do laundry, go to bed, take a shower, repeat. They do that till they're 65 years old, 40 years later. So they have 8 years of free time. They're 65 years old. They wasted 32 years of their life. Now imagine you took that 8 years of free time and sacrificed 8 years to live 40 years of free time. Guys, I don't know about you guys, but like, I'm not trying to offend anybody. If you work a 9 to 5, I'm happy for you. Like people that work a 9 to 5 keep the country afloat. But there's no way in hell I'm asking another grown-ass man or a grown-ass woman, hey, can I take like Friday off? I want to go watch my son play baseball. Like you're asking another person who didn't give up on their dreams if you can go watch their son play baseball. Yeah, like can I go on family vacation next week? Like, is that okay? No, that's not okay. You're asking another grown-ass person who didn't give up on their dreams if you can go do something. Like, who had a 9 to 5 were like, hey, can I use the restroom? Like, dude, that blows my mind. Like, you're asking another grown-ass person if you can piss or shit. Like, that literally blows my mind. I'm like, dude, that will never be me. Like, the insurance industry could completely fail, and I will literally go start another business. Mark Cuban had an amazing quote. I'd rather make $50,000 a year working for myself than $800,000 a year working for somebody else. Guys, I'm always actively watching the news, guys. There's this African-American individual that worked 40 years in a union. They took away his pension. Guys, they took away his pension. He worked 40 years for it. And he's crying. Like, he's crying to another person. Like, dude, like, I sacrificed 40 years of my life working for you, and you're just going to take away my pension. 2 days ago, I took an Uber driver. I said, hey, man, so, like, what did you, like, how long you been Ubering? He said 2 weeks. I said, whoa, that's kind of new. He goes, yeah, I broke my back, and my company didn't want to pay for my medical bills, so I sued them. I won. They ended up paying for my medical bills, but 2 days later, they fired me. He was making $250,000 a year as a manager. They fired him because they had to pay for his medical bills. Obviously, they're not going to admit that, but obviously, we're not stupid. Guys, a 9 to 5 is not safe. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you guys. A 9 to 5 ain't safe. Look what happened to Silicon Valley. Billionaires had money in their bank account in Silicon Valley, not thinking anything of it, absolutely crashed, went bankrupt. Guys, if you're like, it ain't like 9 to 5 ain't safe. The world out there ain't safe. But the one thing that's safe is the insurance industry. Because what's one thing in life guaranteed? You're gonna die. Like, you're selling something that everybody needs. Like, you're not selling a want, you're selling a need. Like, everybody needs life insurance because everybody dies and everybody has to pay for it. My biggest advice for you guys, personally develop, because everything comes down to development. If you can't develop, like, you might as well quit. Like, guys, I graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA. The last day of school, I had to go to my math teacher and say, hey, ma'am, I had a 69er class. I said, can you please pass me? She said, Jay, ask me nicely. I said, can you please pass me? She said, okay, I'll give you a 70. I passed. I dropped out of 3 colleges my first year. Guys, it just wasn't for me. Like, I was smart. I was bright. I just didn't understand why I needed to know the hypotenuse of a triangle. Like, it just, like, I was like, this is so weird to me. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, I want to know how to make money. I grew up from no money. So I'm like, how do I make money? Like, I don't need to know a hypotenuse. Like, show me how to make money. So guys, like, I ain't smart. I'm sure Frank might be smart. Mike might be smart, but I ain't smart. Guys, like, you're looking at people, you're looking at me, like, Mike or Frank, do you even know what you graduated high school with? What GPA?
I failed off the baseball team my senior year, so it wasn't that good.
Like, guys, like, I was that kid during lunch that had to stay during lunch because his grades weren't good enough so he could go outside, like, go eat lunch off campus. Like, I had to stay during lunch. Guys, like, it's not rocket science. Like, look at people around you, guys. Like, all you got to do is work hard, recruit, develop, train, lead. My biggest advice, guys, is I hire the right people and I make people move to me. Like, the fact that they hired you guys to sell over Zoom, like, sell from home, the comfort of your guys' home, like, be grateful for that, because I wouldn't hire anybody. I don't care if it's Frank or Mike. I would be like, yo, I'm not hiring you. Because I only work with people that are willing to move to me. Like, show me how much you're willing to sacrifice. Are you willing to move to me? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay, they're willing to sacrifice. Like, they genuinely want to change my life. So if you guys have goals to be successful and you have the opportunity to move to Frank or Mike, take that opportunity. Like, if you have the opportunity to do it, to show up at the office. I don't know, Mike and Frank, you guys have an office?
Yes, we do.
Guys, oh my God, like, I'd be on that. What's the cheapest apartment? How can I move there? How can I get out of my current lease? Like, how much money do I need to save to move to Frank and Mike? Like, what do I have to do to get around them? Like, my biggest thing was, like, how can I get around these guys? It's like, guys, like you just have to be willing to sacrifice something, guys. Like you have to sacrifice. Like this ain't a get rich quick. Like I'm sorry. Like you're probably gonna live paycheck to paycheck for a year or two. Like that was me. Like I'm willing to be transparent with you guys. I was living paycheck to paycheck for 2 years, making really good money. But like now, like look where I'm at. It's like, guys, like all the adversity I went through in life, I would go through all of that again, knowing that like adversity is what set me up. Like I'm here because of adversity. I'm not here because I got lucky. Like I'm here because of adversity. If you have no adversity in your life, like let's trade places. But like you want adversity, guys. Like it's the greatest thing in the world, knowing your back is against the wall. People rely on you, they depend on you. That's about all I gotta say, guys. I could talk forever, Mike and Frank. So you guys need to shut up.
That's awesome, man. Jay, was it right at the very beginning when you decided that people had to move near you and have them in the office versus Zoom? Was that how you started out?
So the biggest thing, guys, the way I started out was, guys, FFL's way was like high comp for a little bit. It was like work from everywhere, stuff like that. I was never truly bought into that because I was at an insurance company where the culture was amazing, like the best culture. Like people were broke as shit working there, but they loved it. They're like, I'm never leaving. I make $200 a week. I'm like, yo, what? Like I get the culture is great, but like I'm leaving. But like I just saw what a culture did to broke people. I'm like, what would a culture do to rich people? So my first year, guys, like I rebuilt luckily three times. This is my 4th time. I rebuilt just the right way. I'm like, this is how I'm going to make people move to me. I'm going to rebuild the right way. So when I rebuild, I made people move to me. I opened an office, guys. I had 15 people, 20 people. I opened an office that was 7,000 square feet for $7,000 a month. And I could not afford $7,000 a month. Like, guys, like I told Frank and everybody at Orlando this story, guys. It was God that led me to that office space. Cause they're like, hey, I was like, I like this space. What I need to do. They're like, here's the lease. I said, do you know my name? Like, do you know my first name? They're like, here's the lease. I could have put Mike's name on there for the lease and they would have accepted it. No credit check, no income, just here's a lease. And I called 15 people in FFL that I looked up to. I said, guys, do I do this office? They all said, no, don't do it. I said, they said, start with something that's like 1,000 square feet. I said, no, I'm going to do it. Like, that's why I know I should do it. So I signed it. I signed the lease. I'm like, okay, shit, I can't afford it. I'm like, I can't afford $7,000 a month. But in my head, I was like, it's not that I couldn't afford it. It's like, now I'm going to find a way to afford it. That's how rich people think. They don't look at something, oh, I can't afford it. Like, how can I find a way to afford that? So in my head, I was like, I just got to think like a rich person and an entrepreneur is like, okay, I'm not going to look at it like how I can't afford it. I'm going to look at it like, how can I afford it? How can I make myself afford this office? Because I know it's going to 10x my income. So yeah, dude, right when I rebuilt, like I got everybody around me. I said, you have to move to me. It was me in a 4-bedroom house with 15 to 20 agents in a 4-bedroom house. I was living on an air mattress in the kitchen. And every morning at 7 a.m. we would do script training in the basement, and there's 15, 20 agents in the. I have videos, guys. I can send Frank and Mike videos of 15, 20 agents in a circle, and we're script training in the morning at 7 a.m. On the phones at 8 a.m. We don't stop till 8 p.m. Our break is 1 to 3. I have agents tell me, Jay, why can't I take break 11 to 12? I said, the phones are hot between 8 a.m. and 12. Like, why would you take a break? I said, between 1 to 3, the phones are dead. So why won't you take a break during when the phones are dead? And from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I'm dialing my ass off. When I lived in Arizona, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, hit the gym, be at the office by 5 a.m. I would dial West Coast leads at 5 a.m. knowing it was 8 a.m. East Coast time. I apologize. East Coast time. Like, I was just like, whatever I had to do, I did it. So yeah, to answer your question, like, yeah, like I rebuilt correctly. I made people move to me. Guys, it's just easy. Like, I promise you, getting around Frank and Mike, guys, like in an office, you guys are going to get fired up. Like, it's going to be the best thing in the world. Like, you're going to see other agents around you that might look like they have an extra chromosome making more money than you. You're like, how? Like, you're itching your head. Like, how is he making more money than me? Like, that does not make any sense. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out and make more money than them because there's no way he just made more money than me. Like, his head looks like it's on backwards.
Jay, what happened to you the first time you had debt roll up to you? Did you ever have a problem with your mindset? That like tears a lot of people down when they're trying to build. Like, how were you able to, were you straight the first time it happened?
So I didn't know you guys wanted me to bring that up. So while I had $140,000 in debt to a guttering company when I was 18, I had $150,000 of roll-up debt rolled to me. So that's $290,000 of debt. Guys, I literally was just like, I'm gonna go to work, like shit. Guys, I just kept recruiting and hiring and developing, recruiting, hiring, and developing. Guys, this year in July, my roll-up debt was $80,000. Now it's $10,000. You know how I look at it? I look at it like this. I was like, guys, I cannot wait till my debt is gone and I'm making like $500,000. I'm making $300,000 a month with America. Like I didn't look at it like, oh, like I have to roll up debt. Like, what do I do? Like the industry sucks. Another thing I want to tell you guys is, guys, all FFL had, like when people complain about FFL, I'm like, you are absolutely stupid. I'm like, you do not know how FFL works. Like you are like illiterate. Like you're stupid. FFL, the only things they're involved with is getting you guys contracts. They don't pay you. If ILC doesn't work, great, go do your own thing. Like we're not forcing you to buy ILC. All we have control over is comp. So when you say FFL sucks, I'm like, dude, you're a freaking moron. Like the insurance companies pay you. Like you suck. Like FFL doesn't suck. It's not a company. Like FFL doesn't pay you. They just give you contracts. So when people say FFL sucks, I'm like, no, dude, you suck. Like you're stupid. Like you literally have no sense of how the industry works. So like next time you try to complain about FFL or the leads, like go do something else. Go door knock random people then if leads suck. Like then come back and ask for more leads when you go realize door knocking is terrible. So yeah, when I had $150,000 of roll-up debt, guys, I ran in-homes. I had 13 appointments. I'd get no shot. I'd start hitting random doors. We call it the triangle, right? So I'd hit this house, and then I'd hit a house at an angle, hit a house at an angle, and I'd meet in the middle and just hit houses, random door knock. Hey, I just stopped by Susie's house and go over her life insurance information. We work by zip code, so it's obviously your turn for me to go over the information. You want my shoes on or off? Guys, these are people that had no clue what to shut, like no clue what I was talking about. And I'm walking in their house because, like, guys, like I'm just confident. I knew I had to get rid of the roll-up debt, but I knew like I was gonna make a shit ton of money if I just stayed lasered in and focused. Like when you guys ever see a negative $150,000 in your America receipt? Like guys, it's a negative 150,000. Like nobody's like everybody. Like if I quit, they would have been like, oh, like I understand why you quit. No, like I looked at it like, dude, this is sick. I swear to God, like you guys don't believe me. I literally looked at it like this is sick as fuck. Like nobody else at the age of 22 sees negative 150 grand. I'm like, this is sick. I'm like, I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna go write this shit off because I know if I keep building, recruiting, hiring, developing, if I keep just recruiting, if I keep hiring, developing, and selling, that's all I need to do. If I'm consistent at those three things, I'm going to make a lot of money. And like Frank said, it takes 3 months to even see a return on a recruit. Like you can't expect quick results, guys. So yeah, when I had 150,000, like I swear to God to you guys, I literally laughed and said, this is sick as shit. Like I had Americo calling me like, when can you pay this? I said like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know if anybody has any questions, or I know it's 7 o'clock and I rant for a little bit and I apologize, but
Post them in the chat. We'll ask them before we wrap this up. I love it. I mean, there was someone on there talking about when are you going to do the training? I think so many people fail to realize that the only real training is mindset above everything else.
100%, guys.
Script, in-home, all that stuff. I mean, really everything just comes down to mindset. So the way you think and the way you dealt with adversity was actually the best training that you could possibly get. All the other stuff we do is very, very simple.
You have to jump off a cliff and learn how to fly on the way down. That's all it is, guys.
Someone asked if they can have your script.
I don't ever give that out, but sure. I read a podcast about Sean. They're like, he goes, why do you give out free training? He goes, because these morons aren't going to know how to use it. So I looked at that. I'm like, that's such a good point. Like, why don't I just give everybody my sauce? Like, they just have to implement it. And 92% of people aren't willing to implement it. 8% are willing to implement it.
I think if you handed your script to the person with the bad mindset, it would, it wouldn't matter anyway. But I would imagine your script though isn't much different than the rest of them.
You'd be surprised, actually.
Hey, Jay, I wanted to say something, man. I love your energy, dude. Like, I saw you earlier on Facebook, sent you a friend request. I almost recruited you because I didn't realize who you were because it said your other old company you used to work for. I was like, I'm gonna hit this guy up, but then I saw a picture of you at the conference when you were speaking. I was like, oh, that's the guy we're having tonight. And dude, your energy is great because a lot of the stuff you talked about, reminds me of how I started. I've been here for 6 years almost, and I came here broke. Literally had like $500 on my name, repo car, all kinds of things. And one of the things that allowed me to do is I learned work ethic from my mom and dad. Like, you know, they always taught me, don't give up, keep pushing. And another thing too, it's like, you got to have a work, hustle, kill mentality in this game. You can't do it on hopes and dreams. A lot of people that come in, you have hopes and dreams because they see others like myself, yourself, and other top producers doing it, but they don't understand what we went through. So I admire everything you've done at such a young. If I had this opportunity at your age, dude, like I would have probably like shook hands with you on a yacht somewhere by now, be millionaires. Like seriously, I'm glad you came on tonight. You really shared some wisdom and poured into everybody on you, man. Great call, man.
I appreciate it, man, a lot. Thank you.
What other books do you consider reading for self-development?
I'm about to actually just text you that right now, Mike. I actually have a copy and paste in my notes. I just texted it to you. Those are all the books that my people are not forced to read, guys, but they know if they don't read it, I ain't focusing on them. My advice for 22-year-olds, guys, you're 22 years old. Guys, most people start the industry in their 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe 30s. Like, guys, you're 22. Like, be willing to be broke till you're 25. Be willing to be broke until you're 30 until you figure it out. At 22, guys, my biggest problem with my agents, guys, is they're 20 years old making 10 grand a month and they go blow it thinking they're the richest person in the world.
I can't live off
You
of
got
10K
people
these
in-
days, man.
You got people in their 40s who make 10 grand a month and think they're the richest people in the world. So trust me, it doesn't matter.
If you can pay your bills with 10 grand, kudos to you, because I got to make 3 times it to pay all my expenses.
Someone asked, did you say jump off a cliff and learn how to die on the way down?
No, learn how to fly on the way down. Jump off the cliff and learn how to fly on the way down.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, Jay, I just posted all of Jay's books, so you could take a screenshot of that or take a picture of that. But Jay, I appreciate it, man. People asking. So Jay, you do have some magical script, I guess. Everyone wants to get a copy of it.
I'll text.
Just so you can share too, how many people we were at the conference and you had your guys stand up. You got people spending $300-400 on leads and issue paying 30-40 grand. How many of those people do you have in your agency that hit those kind of numbers?
I would probably say 15, 20.
Listen to that, guys. Spending $300-400, issue paying over $30,000 a month. That's
Guys, what was funny is they had 4 people up there, and one of them was my guys. Like, how much you spend on leads? They're like 20 grand a month, 15 grand a month, 10 grand a month. They get to my guy, he goes, how much do you spend on leads? He goes, $500 a week times 4 weeks. He goes, I spend like $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month. Everybody's looking at him like, what in the hell? And he writes 35-40 grand a month.
Jay, what was your thought on the guy that was up there was telling everyone how he had a special lead?
Oh my God.
Agents for $40.
I thought I was going to beat the shit out of him. The math made no sense. The dude goes up there. He goes, my average agent does $40,000 a month. And somebody goes, what's your biggest month a day agency? He goes, I have 58 agents averaging $40,000 a month. And the guy goes, what's your your biggest month a day? He goes, 350 grand. I'm like, dude, you have 56 freaking agents and you're only doing 350 grand a month. I'm like, where did the 40 grand come from? Like, this doesn't add up. Guys, there's no special leads. Like, there is no,
75 agents doing 800 grand. Right? That's who you are.
Yeah, like we have 75 agents doing $800,000 a month on average. So 800,000 divided by 75. What is that? Yeah, that's 10,000. Is that 10,000?
Yeah, 10.6. Yeah. Yep, a month.
10.6.
Guys, that's from people that just got onboarded, and had their first sale yesterday to now. Like that's the crazy part is like these people are profitable too. They're spending $300, $500 a week, cash flowing. I'd say per lead pack they're doing $2,000 to $3,000. But like that, I'm not saying you guys are going to do $2,000 to $3,000. Like it's completely different for everybody. And I do believe in the more you invest, the more money you're going to make. That's one thing I'm a firm believer on. They just invest into more silver and bronze leads.
Hey, Jay, real quick, are you guys strictly doing telesales? Or do you have
all telesales
doing face to face?
I'd say 80% of our agency does telesales. We do have a couple young guys that like are in love with in-homes, but yeah, like guys, in-homes. Who does in-homes? Nobody. This is how I set an appointment. I say, Mike,
I do.
I said, Mike, when can I come over to drop off your life insurance? That's all I said when I'm setting in-home appointment. You said what?
That's it. That's all you say. Hey, when
Yeah,
can
so I
drop off
listened to a podcast with Sean Mike. This was back in like 2018, and Sean goes, I hate these people that have these damn scripts. He goes, I absolutely freaking hate it. He goes, I just say, hey man, I'm dropping off your life insurance. When can I come over tomorrow? I'm like, Sean, there ain't no freaking way. I said, hey, Mary Jo, I need to stop by to drop off your life insurance tomorrow at 8 a.m. and at 10 p.m. Which one works best for you? 8 a.m. And I booked 13 appointments in 2 hours. I solidified it. I still solidified it, asked for their beneficiary and everything. But all I asked is, when can I come over? Why do you need to stop by? You're on Social Security disability, correct? Okay, perfect. I need to stop by to go over your life insurance.
There you guys go. Well, Jay, I appreciate you being on. Everyone, we will see you next Monday at 6 o'clock. Let's crush it this week. Thanks a lot, Jay. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you
Way
guys.
to go, Jay.